Jesus loves me, he will stay close beside me all the way. He's prepared a home for me, and someday his face I'll see. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. The Bible tells me so.
Well, good morning, children. So sorry I'm a little late. I've been having problems trying to get my phone sorted out, and I've actually got it now on what they call portrait mode. It's just not going on to landscape. And as you can see, Felix is he's making sure that I don't pass any germs onto him. But you know what is so nice about this, kids, children, is that he can't talk. He can't open his mouth. He can't tell me anything. He can only look at me and look at you, and he doesn't know what to do anymore. And I mean, this is really a great thing, you know, that he can't talk and bite my ear or anything like that. But you ready for a children's story, are you? Okay, so you mean I mustn't, you're happy that I can talk to you like this because at least you got your mask on, hey? Okay. Well, the children, I'm sure, are looking after themselves, making sure that they're washing their hands, and making sure that if they go outside, that when they are with people, that they've got a mask on. Are you doing that, children? Well, today, Felix, the story that I want to tell you is, again, one of my other favorite stories, and it's a story about a general, a man whose name was Alexander. Now, I don't know if some of you know who Alexander is, but he was a king that was very powerful. In actual fact, he was a Grecian king, a king that ruled very strongly, and the Bible actually talks about him. His kingdom actually comes after the Medo-Persian Empire, and the Medo-Persian's kingdom came after the Babylonian Empire. So maybe you don't know all of that, but it's a story about a true king, a king who had a big, strong army, and he was one day out in maneuvers. He was fighting his enemies, and he was staying on the one side of the mountain. He had camped, and he had all his tents, and his soldiers were with him. And on the other side of the camp was the enemy, and he was quite secured by his soldiers. All their tents were packed around him, and he's big, obviously being the general and being the king of that army, he had a big tent, and inside his tent he had a table, and on the table he had some plans, because he was a very clever king. He was a king that always wanted to be sure that when he fought in a battle, that he would fight and that he would win. And so this particular battle that he was fighting in this particular war, he was up on the mountain, up on the side. It was in the evening. There was a few clouds moving over. The moon was out, but the clouds would hide the moon every now and then. And then what happened is that Alexander was in his tent, and he was looking at his plans, and he was thinking to himself, I wonder if what I'm going to do tomorrow, if we're going to win this war, if I do this. And he was thinking, okay, if I bring my horses from the one side, and then we come in and we come against the enemy, that's a good idea. That will secure us there. That means we'll be able to beat them there. And then he was thinking to himself, maybe if I put my cannons on this side, then at least when they try and do something, I can fire my cannons at them. And so he said, maybe if I put my infantry, the ones with rifles, over here, then if I need to do something, I can protect. Yeah, and he was thinking, this is a good plan. Do you think it was a good plan? Yes, I think it was a good plan too. And he thought some more. Okay, what else should I do? And he was wondering to himself, I wish I could speak to somebody. I wish I could just ask some people, what do they think about my plan? So he got up from the chair that he was sitting on, and he started to walk around up and down in the tent there, walking up and down, thinking to himself, oh, I wonder if this is really going to win, if my plan's going to be the best plan. And so what he did is he got up and he went outside and he opened up his tent. As he came out, the guards jumped on duty, that were on duty, jumped to attention, and he walked past and he started to walk amongst the tents inside of, where all the people, all the soldiers were. And as he was walking where all the soldiers were, he came to the one tent and he heard the one soldier inside saying to the other soldier, oh, I don't know, do you think we're going to win the battle tomorrow? Do you think that Alexander is going to be victorious? Has he got good plans? And he heard his friend turn to him and say to him, what do you mean? Do you think we're going to win? Don't you know who our leader is? Our leader is Alexander. Alexander the Great. There hasn't been a great leader like this for a long time. We are definitely going to win the war. And his friend said, well, I'm sure that you're right. And Alexander was thinking, are my plans right? Have I got the best plans? And he was really worried, and he walked some more, and then he came to another tent, and as he was listening there, he heard the one soldier say to the other soldier, I'm still so young. I don't know, will I die tomorrow? Do you think that I'll still be living after the battle tomorrow? And his friend said to him, of course, don't you know who our leader is? Our leader is Alexander the Great. And you will be alive tomorrow, you watch. And Alexander thought, oh man, I wonder if my plans are the best. And he walked some more, and while he walked some more, he came to another tent. And guess what he heard in that tent, Felix? He heard the one soldier ask the other soldier, he says, I just heard news that my wife gave birth to a little boy, and I haven't seen him, and I'm wondering if I'm still going to see him after the battle tomorrow. And his friend said to him, of course you're going to win. It's Alexander the Great. He's our leader. And you will see him. You will see your son. You're going to win. We're going to win this battle tomorrow. And Felix, he was quite excited by this time, Alexander, but he thought, man, I just wish I could have somebody to talk to. And as he was walking, he noticed, the guards, what guards are. They stand around the tents and they're on duty, and they usually start standing at attention with their rifles, and their eyes are wide open, and they're looking around to see that no enemy's going to come into the camp, to protect the people that are in their tents. And so Alexander thought to himself, that soldier over there, that soldier that's on guard, I'm sure that he's wondering what's going on and is a little bit nervous. Maybe I'll go and talk to him. And he walked up to the soldier, and as he got close to the soldier was standing at attention with his rifle next to him, and he said, good evening. But the soldier didn't respond. The soldier just remained standing. So he thought, maybe the soldier is on, he's so deep in thought, so that he didn't hear me, and maybe I'm too far away. And he walked a little closer and he said, good evening. And the soldier still was quiet. And what do you think is going on, Felix? What is he doing? Why doesn't this man respond? And so Alexander started to get nervous. Why isn't the soldier that's on guard duty responding? And he walked up to the guard and he looked at him in his face, right in him. And guess what he saw, Felix? As he was looking into his face, the soldier was standing at attention with his rifle, but his eyes were closed. Guess what? The soldier that was on duty was sleeping. And Alexander got so angry, he grabbed the soldier by his shoulders and he shook him and he said to him, what are you doing? And the soldier woke up and he was scared, because now he knew who was standing in front of him. And who was standing in front of him, Felix? It was Alexander the Great. He was the king of this army. And here he was caught sleeping on duty. And do you know, Felix, that if any soldiers were caught on duty sleeping, you know what would happen to them? They would be shot straight away. No mercy. Because all the soldiers were now in a dangerous position, because the guard was on sleeping on duty. So Alexander turned away and he walked a bit away and he's thinking to himself, man, I think I need to have this man shot. You know, he was sleeping on duty, but he thought, oh man, I need every soldier to win this war. And he came back to the soldier and he said to him, do you know who I am? And the soldier said, yes sir, yes sir. And he said, who am I? He says, you are Alexander the Great, sir. So he says, and you, what's your name? And the soldier says, wait, Alexander. What? Alexander the Great said, what is your name? He said, Alexander. So he said, what do you mean, Alexander? He says, is your name Alexander? He said, yes, my name is Alexander. So he says, do you know who I am? So he says, yes, you're Alexander the Great. So he said, well, if I'm Alexander the Great and you're the Alexander the God, you need to change your name, because a God whose name is Alexander must be the best God, because I am a good general. I'm a general that makes sure we win battles. Here you are a God, and you're a God that's fallen asleep. You don't deserve the name Alexander. So unless you change your conduct, you must change your name. Did you hear that, Felix? Did you hear that Alexander said that unless you change your conduct, you must change your name then? If you are not willing to be a God that's on duty with your eyes wide open, then change your name. You're not worthwhile being called Alexander. Now, do you know what that means, Felix? Well, what it means, children, is that so many of us claim to be Christians. We walk around with our Bibles in our hands, we're smiling, we say to people, God bless you, but then we do all horrible things. We don't listen to our parents, we don't put our toys away, we lie, and we do all the things that Christians don't do, because Christians claim to be children of Jesus, and Jesus doesn't lie, and Jesus doesn't steal, and Jesus doesn't do those things. So if we're claiming to be children of Jesus, then we can't do those things. We can't be called Christians. Well, we're called Christians if we do what he tells us to do. But children, do you know that if you don't do what he tells you to do, if you're not like Jesus, if you don't love people, and you don't love your mom and your daddy, and you aren't obedient, then you need to change your name. Then you can't be called a Christian. You have to be called something else, because Christians are people who are like Jesus. In actual fact, the Bible teaches me, children, that Christians in the beginning, people that serve God, were called Christians in Antioch first, because they were followers of Christ. Now, if we claim to be followers of Christ, what must we do, Felix? We must be just like Jesus. We must behave. We must love God with all our hearts, with all our minds, with all our strength. And we must love our neighbors. We must love our animals. We must love nature. We must love our parents. We must be just like Jesus, a loving person. Would you want to be a loving person? You're not going to be naughty anymore? Okay, well, I'm going to watch you, children. I'm going to check up on Felix to see if he's been naughty and if he's loving everybody. But Felix, do you want to say goodbye? Oh, he can't say goodbye because he's got his mask on. Now, don't forget, children, tomorrow again at 11 o'clock, Felix and I are going to see you, and I'm sure that Felix, you are safe. You don't have to worry, see. So say bye-bye. Well, bye-bye.